Happy Freedom Friday for forgiveness, family. How are y'all? How are y'all? Hello, hello, hello. Let's get on in here. 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 It is Karen, and I am here. And who is here with me? Because somebody came on in before minute two. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, Michelle. And you know the drill. Evangelize your road. Evangelize your road. Evangelize your road. Mm. Like, tag, and share, please. Like, tag, and share. And we are going to, I think we're going to conclude this time we have spent on why forgiving yourself is so hard. Here I am with my cup. Here I am with my cup. Look, Michelle, I don't know why Kim Armstrong been ignoring me. I don't know why Kim Armstrong has been ignoring me. But she don't need to get herself on together and come on up in this room. Are you feeling better today, Michelle? Because that's your girl. Because that's your girl. She my girl too, but I'm just saying. I'm going to give people about another minute to come on. We had a good time yesterday, though, didn't we? Even though Marcia Simmons was, yeah, did you tag Marcia Simmons, Michelle? Make sure you tag her. She needs a dose of forgiveness in her life. You trespassers, you gonna have to leave, Michelle. You gonna have to leave, Michelle. Y'all not welcome there. I don't know why I got this pen that don't even write. Ooh, my, I got so much stuff to do today. We're gonna see who shows up on this Friday. We're gonna see who shows up on this Friday afternoon. I think the delay is getting a little less. Oh, welcome, did. Maybe we just needed a little time to relax. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Maybe we didn't need all the intensity of a whole entire class session. It was great. It was great. All right. So, looks like when you come in, let me know. Say hey. Let me know you're here. Because when I'm on StreamYard, I can't tell who pops in, right? So let me know you're here. Say hey, and tell me where you are watching from. If you're on the replay crew, indicate replay and tell me where you're watching from. Because I appreciate my replay crew just as much as my live crew. I certainly do. Y'all, this week has been really big for me. I started uh, my new position with a wonderful boss. And if I could share all the things that God has put me in the place to both give and receive in this new position, then I would be talking for a while. But just know that when God does it, it is really done. It is really done. And you know how you want somebody um, who is an example to you for your next. And even though you have people that you follow, people that but they're not like right there with you, that is what God has placed me in the place to receive. And it's so wonderful to be in that space. And that is my position that I have in this Tina's boutique. So not only are the clothes beautiful, but she and her husband are beautiful. And me and Stephen have just, it's like having some parents right there. So here we are. It's Freedom Friday. And so this week, I'm gonna get started. This week we have been talking about why forgiving yourself is so difficult. Because it's a lot of people walking around who are not stepping out, who are not stepping forward, who are not falling into the calling that God, walking, not following, not following or walking into the calling that God has for them, for their life, right? And so we're going to review those reasons, and then we're going to just review what forgiveness really is. Let me get out of here. Let me get out of here. Because sometimes um, maybe I don't reiterate enough what forgiveness is. I tell you what it is. I tell you what it's not. I tell you why it's hard. I tell you why you should. I think sometimes I get the questions that I get and we get the comments that I get because we still don't recognize what it really is. Okay. So with that being said, reviewing the reasons why forgiving yourself is such a difficult thing to do. Number one, if you will recall, we believe our failure defines our identities. We attach our identity to the incident or the mistake that we made. Remember, the example was the class that you didn't do well in and you call yourself a failure, or you don't win at some sort of thing that was a competition, you call yourself a loser, or you have a business that didn't do as well as you wanted it to. So you just say, well, I guess I'm just not business minded. Um, when in fact, it's been proven that businesses you need, at least 5 years and 2, 3, 4 times before you find the one that does what you need for it to do. Then we think we must punish ourselves. Self punishment feels like justice, but it rejects the grace and keeps us trapped in condemnation rather than restoration. We talked about conviction versus condemnation, right? We believe we should have known better. Whew, Michelle. Woo, Michelle. Give me all these extra things to do. We'll probably start out that one the first of the year, right? Okay. Um, we think we should have known better. Hindsight convinces us we should have been wiser, but weakness is where God's grace proves sufficient. I'm gonna call you, Michelle. I'm gonna call you. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call you. Um, we keep this is what we talked about yesterday. We keep replaying the failure. We keep replaying the failures instead of renewing our mind. And then again, we don't believe we deserve God's grace. Well, you didn't deserve it when he went to the cross. That's why it's called unmerited favor. It ain't nothing you deserve. It ain't nothing you earned. It's something he gave you. Whatever, Michelle. Whatever. Okay, so we have all these reasons why why we carry around unforgiveness towards self. We won't forgive ourselves for what we did, for what we didn't do, for what we said, for how we acted, for the stupid thing we did, in between the ages of 25 and 40, or whatever it was that we did, whatever it was that we didn't do. I talked to several people, not now an overabundance of people, but a lot of people are holding themselves responsible at 50 for something that their 50-year-old mind tells them they should have known when they were 23 or younger. Now, your 23-year-old mind or younger had barely got developed. And if you were younger than 23, your mind wasn't not your decision making center. That's what people don't know. That's why parents, because I did too. Parents get mad at kids. It's like, they do something just out of sheer impulse. And then you ask them, well, why you do that? And the answer is, well, I don't know. I don't know how many whoopings I got about that. I don't know. And the truth of the matter is, they don't know. I didn't know. Because the space in your brain that does reasoning and makes better decisions, it's still brain goo at that point. And so they wasn't gonna never know at that age. And like even if you ask me at 50-ish why I did something at 17, my answer is still gonna be I didn't have no reason to. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. Still didn't have no reason. It seemed like it would work because there wasn't no reason attached to it. So your grown self is holding your not grown self, or you're not enlightened, or you're not educated, or you're not experienced self. You're holding yourself responsible for some stuff that you say you should have known better, but clearly you did not. Like, you should have known better. Not I did know better. I should have known better. I've forgiven myself for stuff I knew better because I knew better. And I just chose to do the Christ. And I release myself from that too. So remember our definite, I don't know. Oh, I heard them too. I heard them too, Michelle. But this is the thing though, is that our parents didn't realize that our brain was not working through the problem. They didn't know that we didn't have the ability to work through the problem. 'Cause this is what I used to hear. You can make all them A's in school, but you still stupid. Yeah, I ain't got no common sense. I did nobody did at that age. Nobody really did. And so we have to release our parents from saying those things because they didn't know that we couldn't do that. They did not know that we could not think through that. And so when I learned it, when I learned it and I heard Steven saying stuff to Skylar, I'd be like, bang, she really don't. She really don't know. Like she ain't lying this time. You know, if she actually had a reason, she was likely lying. But if she said, I don't know, that's the truth. That's the truth. So we have to forgive them. So, of course, y'all, let me run through my definition that we start out class with when we start talking about forgiveness. Okay? Forgiveness is the choice to stop allowing your feelings to be noticeably changed. Noticeably changed. Anger, rage, uncontrollable crying, a fit. To stop letting your feelings be noticeably changed because of persistent ill will. Again, anger, hostility, want to do something crazy. All of those things going way far to the left. Persistent ill will against someone or something or some entity who has wronged you, who has insulted you, who has injured you, a job that fired you after you did the best job that you knew how to do, a friend that betrayed you after you trusted them with something that that you thought they knew how to hold. Right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, boys, you ready to get to go? The Bible tells us that we will have troubles in life. The Bible tells us that we will experience betrayal. If you read, okay, I'm gonna turn my phone on, which may impact how this is broadcasting, but I'm gonna read this to y'all. Psalm 55, 12 through 14. Come on here, phone. So while we're talking, the Bible says that we will have trouble in life. The Bible says that we will experience betrayal. And that's the part we think that salvation means that everything is going to be okay. Well, we wouldn't need salvation if the fall of man hadn't happened at the Garden of Eden, right? So, if we were still walking around naked in the garden, we wouldn't need all this. So, since we are not, then we should not be surprised, but we are. We should not be surprised when people betray us, when things happen, when life happens, because the Bible tells us this. So I'm gonna read this one. Come on, Bible. I wasn't planning on reading this, but here we go. Psalm 55. 12 through 14. For it was not an enemy, this is the King James Version. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man my equal, my guide and my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together and walked unto the house of God in company. What that is saying is that if it was somebody I couldn't stand that did this to me, if it was somebody that I knew didn't like me, said that old mess that they said, or did that old mess that they did, then I about could understand it. But now, here you are, my friend, that said or did or whatever it was that betrayed me. The Passion Translation says, it wasn't an enemy who taunted me. If it was my enemy, filled with pride and hatred, then I could have endured it. I would have just run away. But it was you, my intimate friend, one like a brother to me. It was you, my advisor, the companion I walked with and worked with. Okay? I just read that so that whoever's watching, whoever's listening, you can know that troubles and betrayals in life should be expected because the Bible says so. The Bible says so, right? So we have to then learn how to practice forgiveness. We have to learn how to practice forgiveness towards others and towards ourselves. Because sometimes, y'all, sometimes we make decisions, and it sounds crazy, but work with me. Sometimes we make decisions that's against our best interests, and we make decisions that actually are against our goals that we say that we want to achieve because we got something else running in the background that keeps us from doing the right thing. We got the enemy playing, in our ear, and we're listening. And so we make these decisions that don't match what we say we're working towards. And then, see, this is how the enemy works. He get in your ear. You don't take captive the thought. You go do something crazy, which is against the goal that you wanted to achieve. Then the enemy then turns around after he influenced your thoughts. He then turns around and call you stupid and says you should have known better. And so now that he's got you caught up in that thought trap and you did the thing that he said because he's in your head saying, you messed up over here before, you did this before, so you're just going to mess it all up again, which you do because you don't take captive the thought. Then he says, now look at you, stupid, you trash. You trash, you should have known better. And you see me going, but so the only thing left for you to do is forgive yourself. The only thing left for you to do is release yourself. Stop letting your feelings run amok, because that's what the enemy attaches to a lot of times is the feelings that you have that, you can feel disappointed that you flunked the class. You can feel disappointed that your business didn't do what it was supposed to do. You can feel disappointed, as Michelle stated earlier, that your relationship didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. It's perfectly fine to have feelings. God gave you the feelings. He didn't give you the feelings for them to run you. He gave you the feelings so you could gauge where you are in a situation. Example. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. So at one point, I was dealing with depression. But at the time, I didn't know what it was. I knew I was moody and all these things. And so one day I went to go shopping. I went to go shopping. I had decided I was going to treat myself. I saw something in that's right, Michelle. He tells you all these things that's not true. So I saw something in the store one day that I thought, oh, I would be cute in that. And so this particular day, I said, I'm finna go get that particular thing from this particular store. It's a store that ain't even in business now. It's called Holidays. And it was a little inexpensive jacket. Holidays had real, decent clothes um, that were pretty good quality that didn't cost a lot. And so I got in my car. I drove over the Holidays. Holidays was closed for the day. I cried all the way back home because Holidays was closed for the day. And after I got through crying, I said, I literally said this to myself. I said, I shouldn't have been that upset about a store being closed. I come to myself. I said, I shouldn't have been that upset about a store being closed. That was when I made the call to go get to take care of all this moodiness. But I tell you that to say that your feelings are a gauge for where you are emotionally. Okay? So when you want to if you want to go a little further, because forgiveness is an earthly principle, but it's a biblical principle as well. Forgiveness is mentioned over 100 times in the Bible. So that means that God really intended for us to be forgiving of people and ourselves. Forgiveness biblically is the spirit empowered release of a debt, the relinquishing of the right to revenge or repayment, and the transferring of the case to God's righteous justice. All while choosing to walk in freedom and love and restoration of fellowship, if that's what God says that you're supposed to do. The release of the debt, the relinquishing of the right for revenge or repayment, and the transference of the case to God's righteous justice. That's what biblically it is to forgive. So when you're looking to forgive yourself, you release yourself from the mistake that you made. When you release yourself from the mistake you made, you get to release the guilt that has been eating you up inside. Because God never told you to feel guilty. God sent his son to the cross to handle every mistake that you made and the punishment. Because as I said before, we often don't forgive ourselves because we think we have to punish ourselves. When in fact, the way it's God's job to handle the punishment for any wrong that was done, whether it was you to yourself or someone else to you. You're releasing the right for revenge. Because what is we think we should punish ourselves if not revenge on ourselves? Because we think we have to be a certain amount of sorry and a certain amount of emotional and a certain amount of this and a certain amount of that to be, considered absolved of whatever wrong we've done, whether it's to somebody or to ourselves. When God has sent his son to handle all of that. And then we turn everything over to God's court for his justice. Right? Now, Once we turn it over, we can then start renewing our mind. I got two scriptures. Two scriptures that once you release yourself, you should say over and over again. First one, Romans 8:38 and 39. For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. Nothing you can do can separate you from his love. That means that you're just loved regardless. No matter what bad decision you've made, when you can't forgive yourself, you are rehearsing a narrative of unworthiness and favor. Faith, not failure. You were rehearsing a narrative of unworthiness and failure when you can't forgive yourself. You're rehearsing a false narrative of unworthiness and failure. But Romans 8:38 and 39 says different. And so what you need to do is read that like 2 or 3 times a day for 6, 7, 8, 9, 37 days in a row until you believe it. Until it rests with you that you are loved no matter what. You're loved by God no matter what. No matter what. No matter what. Like all the stupid and all the crazy that you could do, and you still loved anyway. Same way you do with your kids. You don't like some of the stuff that they do, but you sure love them because they're yours. So the renewal confession to renew your mind, you need to say, nothing I've done can separate me from God's love. His love covers me, restores me, and calls me forward. Second scripture lets you know that you are a marvelous creation. Psalms 139 and 14, y'all already know it. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. Well, maybe your soul don't know it very well. Maybe it's time for you to learn it. And a good confession for that is I am God's marvelous work. I am made with intention, value, purpose, and beauty. My mistakes do not cancel my work. My mistakes do not cancel my work. Whenever you listen to this, type that in the comments whenever you listen to it. My mistakes don't cancel my work. And when you type it, check your chest. Check your chest and see how you feel about it. Do you pause? Do you hesitate? Do your eyes well up? Do you start tearing a little bit? Do you pause? If you type it in. My mistakes don't cancel my work. Check how you feel. And then you check how you feel. Tell me how you feel once you type that in. Type in there how you feel. Because I go back and look at the comments. I'm going to type it. Now, I just feel just a bit joyful. Say she's bad. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So I hope that everybody that comes on later on, that looks at this, that listens to this, I hope you feel joyful. I hope you feel empowered. And even if you don't have a feeling because you at work, then you out. But if you felt a little tight in your chest, if you felt a little teary, if you felt a little unnerved or unsure, or it didn't resonate with you in a positive type way, type it every day until your feelings change. All right, y'all. That is Freedom Friday for today. I hope I hope that y'all have a great weekend. And I will see y'all. I will see y'all Monday at my new good time of 4:30 Monday through Friday. Do me a favor. Like the broadcast, tag some friends, and share it everywhere that you have permission to share. I would really appreciate that. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. See y'all next week.